the City of Manistee Housing Commission special meeting. And I'll do roll call. Steve Fonstick,
Here.
Jim Smith,
Here.
Karen Goodman, here. Jenny Pelton. Here. Thank you. Then I also have Jeff Klug from our attorneys on Zoom, and then Mark Zahaki from Big Rapids Housing Commission on Zoom. And then also myself as staff. Public comments on the agenda-related items. No? I just had one thing that I wanted to change before I sent this, or after I sent this out. I just noticed that we had public comment after the closed session, so I am just asking to see if we can move that up before the closed session, so then we can go into adjournment after that.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, so can we take roll call or for that?
I just say a voice vote.
Yeah. Voice, okay.
He asked. Yeah. You have to ask Steve, all in favor?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
All right. All right, Steve, did you wanna hit the next item?
Proposal from Mr. Mark Shakak. How do you say your last name, Mark?
Sahaki.
Sahaki. To assist the Housing Commission in providing administrative and management services. Mark is well known, I guess, to this commission as he stepped in and helped in a transition between Jay and Clinton back in 2005. He's with the Big Rapids Housing Commission, and he's offered his services to help us, and I really think we need them, and I guess I'll open it for discussion. Mark, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm having a hard time hearing you, Steve, but did you want me to say a few words?
Is this better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, yes, say a few words, please.
Okay, well, I think we had a conversation and, I think understand where you're at. And, I think we can help you understand the current situation, with the tax credit development and with your public housing side of it. I mean, I think there's some important issues and deadlines that we have to address as quick as possible.
Does anyone have any questions for Mark?
So Mark,
Oh.
your proposal is part-time. What would that entail, like 20 hours a week? What's part-time for you?
Is that you, Karen?
Yes.
I think I can see.
It's
I'm
me.
on my phone, so y'all look really small, so I'm sorry about that. I think whatever it's necessary,
Okay.
Karen. So I can be available. I don't think 20 hours a week is necessary, but I won't know that honestly until I get to take a peek at everything and see what the real needs are.
So,
Go ahead.
oh, go on. That's all right. Go on.
No, I was just going to say for background purposes, I've been a director for 32 years, and I've done 3 tax credit projects, so I understand the system and the process. So I think things will be very clear to me, in less time than more time.
So I'm thinking you are offering up in a consultation kind of process, an employment process, to help our current management kind of work through the weeds that they're being devoured by sometimes, and to assist us as commissioners, fairly new commissioners still. I mean, I've been on for a while, but, you know, I have never been provided a lot of information. You could help us to better understand our options and abilities. We feel that we are in some, you know, at least I feel we are in some very nerve-wracking situations, you know, with government, and I'm not sure where to turn, or, you know, I don't feel I have all the information. I'm worried about what I don't know all the time. You know, I think that this would be a good relationship to be able to kind of help us maneuver out of this, and then to provide us your wisdom in regards to some options for us, and, you know, to help us figure out what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, and you all know I'm familiar with Manistee. I did some work there back in 2004 and 2005. So, but I do think it's important that new commissioners, that you're presented with all the information. So I think that would be my goal, is to sort it out. And I think I can walk through the tax credit project and help you understand what is happening and what has happened in relationship to all the entities involved.
I do appreciate, Mark, that you zoomed in on one of our meetings and noticed that we needed some help. And I appreciate you stepping forward and contacting us. And I am all for us hiring you to assist us to be better commissioners for our citizens.
Mark, as I understand it, you would like to be an employee of the Housing Commission as opposed to a consultant in the
Yes.
hold harmless, with the extended absence of our executive director. I would foresee that as in an acting executive director position, because you're not going to get much done if you don't have the authority to do the job.
Well, I think it's important. Yeah, I would like a contractual employee relationship, at least in the short term, to figure out where we're at and where you would like to go. You know, I'm not a consultant. I don't have liability insurance, so I would want to work under your umbrella and your current liability policy.
Well, I don't have any problem with that. I just want to make sure that if we enter into this agreement, that you have the authority to call on other resources as necessary, and you're able to do a complete job for us. And that, I think you certainly have the background and experience to do that in a timely manner.
I think that, just so we're clear, as a director administrator role, he's not going to be able to put 40 hours in.
No.
So, but as a employed, we can write this contract any way we want. So we can write it up with, and Jeff, you correct me if I'm wrong, we can write it up that he has administrative, you know, some administrative clout. You know, I don't know good language for it, but I mean, we have Lindsay, we did a resolution as the interim, but we want her to have Mark as her resource and her guide, because she's got two jobs she's juggling here. But also give Mark enough authority to be able to say, if something has to be done, you know, with consultation with the president probably, and, you know, it can get done. You're right, we don't want to hamstring them. We want them to have some authority.
And we don't want conflicts between parties.
Right. So some way, could you put all that in some good words, Jeff, so that it's an employment agreement?
Yes, and I was letting all of the commissioners talk first before I was going to ask Mark a few questions, just so I had the 100% understanding. I, of course, had his proposal and everything looks good, but I wanted all four of you to ask your questions first. So I'm just waiting. But to answer your question, Karen, yes, we could draft it up that way. And his actual title, I mean, we can put in there, it doesn't have to be acting interim executive director. I mean, we have one right now, so we can figure out how we want to word that, but we, of course, would want Mark to be able to fully perform and do the tasks that we would like him to perform.
Well, there is some liability on Lindsay's part. If she stays as acting executive director and Mark is telling her how to fill out the forms and they're wrong, she's liable.
That's a good point. So if Mark is telling Lindsay to fill out and sign forms and submit it to HUD and her name's on it, yeah, then she would be the one that would be essentially liable. We'd have insurance to cover it. So that's one thing that, I think we should discuss it with Lindsay too. Is this something where she wants to remove herself as the acting interim director and then Mark would step in? And what changes would we have to submit to HUD as well with all of this? Because I think a lot of it, Mark's going to be not full-time, part-time is my understanding from reading this. And he's just going to be there to help us get everything back up to speed and to, pick up the slack where we need help, because there's a lot that needs help from what I'm told.
What I think of in my head is, relating to other jobs, like a project supervisor, kind of somebody who's in charge of everything, but works under the umbrella of. But I mean, we can find a title. It could be a chief operating officer if we wanted to throw that out there.
Are you comfortable with that? To stay as interim director?
Yes, I'm comfortable with either one, to be honest. I am comfortable with learning and getting a lot of the experience and working with Mark. I know he can bring a lot of experience and knowledge to the table. And I am all about learning more from someone else. I'm also willing to step aside and let someone else come in and do it so I can go back and do, the deputy director role. I want to do what's best for the agency, to be honest. If it's something that the board really wants to have him step in as acting director, then I will, step aside and be support for him when he needs. But then I'm also willing to stay and then also get his support.
I like the idea that, you would be able to learn. This is some of our issue, again,
Yes.
and I've shared this with other commissioners. We've had silos for so long that, you didn't have an opportunity to learn other roles. And here we are,
Yes.
So with Mark coming in, I think he could be a great mentor, show you some of the things, help you to expand your abilities in this area. I understand. My concern is we need 40 hours, boots on the ground, and he doesn't have that ability to provide that. So what can we utilize? We'll utilize them the best we can, and we could do a co-facilitation. I don't know. I don't know. Are there specific duties that you think that he could? We want him to see the whole operation manager. Just kind of the whole operation, being able to kind of give input into the whole operation. The whole thing about if you put your name on something, and even if you're a director, you'll have people doing your reports, and then you'll have to review it, and if it's wrong, if you don't catch that, yeah, you will be liable for it. But that's in any business.
Yeah, we're going through that right now with the lease ups and applications and stuff.
Right.
So
I think that it sounds like we all want Mark on
Yes.
board.
Yes.
That we definitely want. We want him to be employed, not a contractual employee, but there's a language for it, but I can't. Jeff will fix all this.
An at-will employee.
Yeah.
So who is going to write this, Jeff is going to write this contract?
I can write the contract. The question I was having, I didn't know whether he was gonna be an independent contractor or an employee, but from, listening to Mark and everybody, it seems like he's gonna be an employee, not an independent contractor. Is that correct?
He's gonna be an employee, so he can at least have our acts and omission liability insurance.
And you can write that in the contract, just like we have with Clinton's. You know, he has same privileges as employees. So we can have a statement in that contract that kind of outlines that same privileging of coverage, liability coverages. I mean, it won't be, you know, insurances and stuff like that, but definitely the other things that we would, and probably reimbursement for travel or anything like that, you know, stuff like that.
Well, he's already said that he wants no reimbursement for travel.
Oh, okay.
He
all right.
wants nothing except for acts and omission liability insurance.
Okay. That makes sense.
Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, I don't need any other the intangible benefits, certainly. But I would say, Steve, if I could just say this, I think it would probably be in the Housing Commission's best interest if Lindsay was the interim director title still, because it will make it a lot easier to access all the federal systems. I mean, she's probably already able to do that. And in my mind, that, you know, as a long-term employee and somebody that will likely continue, I think that's the better play, the better route.
Okay.
Well, I have no problem if someone would like to.
I make a motion that we employ Mark as interim director,
No, as a,
employee of the Housing Commission.
yes, with title to be determined. How about that? I don't know if that sounds too corny or.
Okay.
That's all right.
And Mark, you quote us at an hourly rate, and you said that would be an all-inclusive, no vacation time, sick time, or any benefits other than the hourly rate?
Yeah, and no travel time as well.
Okay.
So you finished your motion? I'll second the motion.
Favor?
Roll call?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. Steve Bonstick,
Yes.
Jim Smith,
Yes.
Karen Goodman,
Yes.
Jeannie Pelton.
Yes.
Welcome aboard, Mark.
We look forward to working with you.
Yeah.
When,
No.
Can you
I don't
start
know
right now?
Contract. Now, when is the anticipated start date?
Probably today's date could be. Mark, when did you say you could start? I thought there was a delay.
Well, you know, I was thinking Monday that I would come over and at least get started.
Okay,
Yeah.
So make it effective Monday's date, which is
17th,
17th.
17th?
I think. Yeah.
And Jeff, maybe you and I could have a conversation too.
I was gonna ask you, I have your proposal and I have the phone number starting with 231. That's your best contact info?
Yep, cell phone, 250. Yep, yep, absolutely. And I will be available. I'll be at a NARO conference tomorrow in Grand Rapids. You're not in Grand Rapids, are you, Jeff?
No, right outside of Lansing.
Okay.
But I have a lot of availability. Let me see, Friday, if you wanna touch base and we can hopefully address a lot of the issues. Yes, Friday, I don't have any meetings, so I'll be in the office. And of course,
So mid-afternoon, mid to late afternoon, would that work?
yes, please not after 5 though.
No, absolutely.
Because interim
Absolutely.
executive director.
Okay, would you could text me your phone number to that number, Jeff, and we'll touch base.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, is everybody done with this? I just have a little anecdotal thing to say about the Manistee News. Mark found out about the problems we're going through because Manistee News Advocate and Big Rapids share the same publisher, and it was in the Big Rapids paper. So that was kind of interesting. Okay, now we move on to discussion about our regular monthly meeting on the 20th. Jim has expressed that he can't make that meeting at 9 AM because he had made a doctor's appointment. And so you think that you can be here by noon, right?
Yes. Anytime afternoon.
Is everybody okay with that? To move it to noon?
Yes.
It's a one-time thing.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
get one appointment a year with this guy, so.
Prefer it over 5 PM, that's for sure.
Okay, is that a roll call or just a voice vote?
We can do roll call if
Okay.
you want. Steve Bonstick,
Yes.
Jim Smith,
Yes.
Karen Goodman,
Yes.
Jeannie Pelton.
Yes.
Now, are there any reports and communications at all?
There are not.
And public comments before we enter into a closed session. Any public comments?
I just want to say thank you and just something really cool to tell you about your residents. We had contact with one of the residents on Easter Sunday. She had texted Happy Easter and called back, and I just think it was so sweet that a group of them were making a big Easter meal and making sure they delivered in Century Terrace to any of the other residents that weren't able to be with family and friends and were in need of a meal. So rock on with our residents.
Building
Yes.
community, that's great.
Yeah. Are they any closer to being in the community room?
They're getting close.
Are they?
Yeah, they had to do construction on it before I went on vacation, and I just walked it yesterday. It was a mess. But it has to be ready for mass move-ins at the end of the month, so.
If nothing else, this board is going to go into closed session. Appreciate everyone coming out.
Yep, you'll need to identify who can stay.
Well, they could all sit here if they want to, but I don't know why they want to.
Second.
So we would have
Motion
commissioners,
to go into closed session.
yeah, Lindsay,
Commissioners Lindsay, Jeff,
yes.
and
Lindsay didn't get to come in our last closed session.
Yeah, at West Shore, we had one.
yeah.
No, the one we had,
No.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah,
yeah, okay, so
that was just us.
that was, yeah, okay, that was.
Do you want Jeff to stay on, or not Jeff? We want Jeff to stay on. Do we want Mark to stay on?
I have no feeling either way.
I'd prefer it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mark, can you stay on?
Or is he already
You
gone?
might have been.
You're mute.
Sure, yes, yes, I
Okay.
can.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, but we're not going back in that room.
No,
we'll
we're gonna
right
stay here.
You can
Oh.
just shut the door.
Oh,
Yep.
okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Oh, that room is,
No
yeah.
problem, we just love coming here.
Jeff, legal advice on the last question?
We
Do
can't.
have to get
Not on the
legal
agenda.
advice? Do we have to vote on the?
Yeah, we have to vote on this now. We can't have discussion.
Special session, we can only address the items that were on the agenda.
So the person, we are making a decision on a personnel issue, which was on our agenda.
Right. That's, but he can't give us, okay.
So the recommendation was to, or the motion would be to suspend our executive director with pay as we go through an investigation and gathering of information regarding performance or,
Irregularities.
I would be more general than that. I would say performance issues of it with his contract.
Performance issues.
I put him on notice. So could you read that back again, what it is?
Motion to suspend with pay as the board goes through an investigation for regular performance issues.
Correct. Executive director.
Executive director.
Roll call vote?
Steve Fonstack,
Yes.
Jim Smith,
Yes.
Karen Goodman,
Yes.
Jeannie Powell.
Yes.
And for clarification, this suspension starting April 17th.
Correct.
Anything else to bring in front of the board? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, that's right. We did decide on noon for next week.
Yep.
Okay. I'll move to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. Yay.
Good night.
Have a good